JP here today, One Shot at Life, and we did a duty gun versus competition gun video a little while back and figured I would go into the competition gun breakdown. A couple people have been asking, so let's get into it. All right, in front of you, this is an American Defense Manufacturing UIC lightweight competition rifle. So this is American Defense's competition version. Behind, that's the one we discussed. That's their UIC Mod 2. That's what I discussed as the duty version. And so what makes a competition rifle? Well, I've got a bunch of stuff laid out on this table. We're gonna walk through it, and we'll just start on the rifle first, and then we'll go into the components that are on the table. And so with this rifle, this is 99% how it comes from ADM. The only thing I've swapped out is the muzzle brake. And so walking you through how I have my rifle set up, it's got the Magpul adjustable stock on the rear. I've added some like felt cheek riser. It's not really a cheek riser, but it's more of a padding just from how fast I get the gun and present the gun. So it just helps that. Going forward, I've got a Radian Raptor charging handle, and then you've got which we'll discuss, it's a titanium bolt carrier group from Rubber City Armory, and this one's got an adjustable gas key. And then moving up, I've got a Vortex Razor 1 to 10. This is a first focal plane scope and MRAD. We've discussed before the difference in second focal and first focal, but this is a 1 to 6 razor, and I think both of them have their place on the competition scene depending on what you're getting yourself into. This is in a ADM 193 mount, so I've really become accustomed to the higher mounts especially for competition shooting. This one has also the capability to put a red dot on top of the optic. I'll show a little B-roll. I've got my other gun that's pretty much set up identically, but it's got a red dot set up at a 45-degree angle. Moving forward, really actually moving down, you can see that this has a skeletonized receiver, shaving a little bit of weight. I mean, it looks cool, but it definitely helps when you're trying to go real fast. The lighter gun is definitely not a bad thing in my opinion. You've got an American trigger company, AR Gold trigger. I said it on another video, but this has been my favorite trigger consistently for years. You've got a lot of nice triggers out there, and I just really like what American Trigger Company's doing. It feels like I think this one's sitting at around 2 pounds. All of mine have been lightened a little bit, and with the set screw on the back, but man, incredible. It's got Radians, 45-degree safeties, just gets you that much, versus 90 degrees, you're able to go flip that safety off a little bit faster. Magpul grip. And then moving forward, you can see that on the competition rifle, this has the rail is a smooth top rail, and so there's no Picatinny slots on the top. I really like this for competition. I have that thumb over grip, so it really allows me to get a good grip on this rifle, and I'm not like cutting into any of those rail slots, and I just don't need them on the competition rifle. There's no need for anything out here. They did leave a couple rail slots if you were going to run irons, or in the event you run like offset 45-degree irons, and so you do have that. This barrel is a bit lighter profile barrel, so this is a 1 1/8 twist. And what I'll say quickly about the barrel is in competitions, you'll shoot 55 grain at paper because you're shooting stuff close up. And then I really normally shoot a heavier bullet for any type of long range, or if I need the target to react. So 77 grain SMK or a 75 grain Hornady, there's a couple different bullet combinations out there, but so this 1 1/8 really handles the 55s and the lighter bullets and the heavier bullets at the same time. It's in a 223 Wild chamber. And moving forward, I've got an adjustable tunable muzzle brake. So I've got a couple different muzzle brakes on the table. To me, there's a couple out there that are really effective. I got the Unrivaled there. This is American Precision Arms, and it's got threaded screws that go into the top of the muzzle brake. And then you can also time the muzzle brake. And really, ultimately, what you're trying to achieve with a rifle like this is to get the gun to shoot as flat as possible, meaning when you pull the trigger for how you hold it with your ammo, the gun is not moving. I think I can throw up some B-roll of some shooting fast with it. It's pretty impressive. And so the tunable ports allow you to do that. And then you can also time the break, where if you don't want it top dead center at the 12 o'clock, typically mine are canned at like the 12:30 or sometimes even the 1. And that's just what happens to counter the recoil that I perceive under when the shot's fired. Moving down, and so I've got a Area 419 Arca rail, and that Arca rail just gives me, number one, it gives me a flat bottom that I can move around if I want, a little bit more surface area, and then it also gives me the ability to run a bipod. In this case, it's an MDT bipod, but it depends on what the stage requires. I'll run multiple bipods depending on what is allowed. This gun is set up for modified division for 3-gun. That's primarily what I shoot. And so you're allowed to have a bipod, you're allowed to have 1 magnified optic, and then you can run offset irons. But in the modified division, you can't like shoot a magnified optic and a red dot. But in some of the 2-gun competitions I shoot that are really fun, either local 2-gun or there's a new series out I'm a fan of called the Gauntlet, and you can run the offset red dot. And so you'll see that on my other rifle. I have a primary rifle and then a practice rifle. For years I was just running one rifle hard, and you'd get to a match and inevitably you'd have a malfunction, a gas rings bad, something happens, something wears out because you put so many rounds through it. And so having a rifle that I shoot at practice matches and during practice, and then this one only gets shot during actual matches is definitely a benefit. So since we kind of overviewed the rifle, I want to talk about some things on the table. All right, so I've got a Razor 1-6. I've also got a Vortex Huey, the UH1. And so if you're running a red dot, you know, I typically like the red dots for the closer up matches. Anything like 100 and in, a red dot does great. You can put a magnifier behind it. But what I think is king for these type of rifles is the LPVO. And so you have to decide what's best for you. I really like the 1-10. I've just become accustomed shooting it over the years. The 1-6 is also incredible, and both of them have very bright dots. You want that bright center dot, treat it like a red dot. And so really I think that's, if you're gonna shoot any matches with any really long distance in 3-gun, or I'm talking 400 and out, I think the 1-10 really helps. And you can get a BDC reticle or a mil reticle in either. For competitions, I like the mil reticle. I just like the preciseness of it, and they're known targets. The distances are known, so I'm not trying to guess, or I don't need a BDC just to put me close. I can be exact with the mil, and that's just how I choose to do it. Many people do it differently. Also on the table, like, we've got the different mags. You know, I run everything. It's a 20. I typically like the extended mags. These are from Taran on this one. So you see 20, I've got a 30, and then a 40. You can run coupled mags. So I've got coupled 20s, coupled 30s, and that coupled base plate gives you added stability if you're gonna need a lower position, you need the rifle lower to the ground. In front of you, I've got 3 different buffer springs. And so what I'll say about this is there's a couple that are really good, and I think the 2 that I would advocate for with completely unbiased or no relation whatsoever are the JP spring and then the Unrivaled spring. Seem to really be the top 2 that I've seen as far as captured springs go. These guns have the ADM spring in it, so it's the one that comes with it. It's really whatever you want, but as we get into tuning it, I think that this is where this stuff really matters. And then right in front of that, this is that Rubber City Armory titanium bolt carrier group. All right, so the whole carrier is titanium, quite a bit lighter than the steel version. And in this case, what you didn't hear me say on the gun is I didn't say an adjustable gas block. This has, and I'll show the B-roll of it and everything, give you an idea, but it has an adjustable gas key on top of the carrier. And so the gas is controlled through 2 set screws in the key, and then you adjust that, and then I Loctite the rear set screw, and you're good to go. That allows, in this case, for the handguard to be a little bit thinner profile, and I've had nothing but really good things to say about the adjustable gas key, as long as you Loctite that set screw. Don't just assume that carbon or tension is going to keep that tight. And so what do you get ultimately? What does all that add up to? All that adds up to, you are trying to create a rifle that for you is the most flat shooting, meaning no or as little perceived dot bounce when you shoot the gun as possible, and accurate gun as possible. This gun is built to shoot fast. You're talking 11, 12 splits for a lot of people, and some people can run it even faster. And so what you want to do when you pull that gun up, you want to be able to point at the target and then pull that trigger. Typically in 3-gun, or it's 2 shots on paper. And so you want to be able to pull that trigger as fast as you can, knowing that both those rounds are going to hit very close to each other with minimal recoil. And then when you're shooting at long distance, it's just another advantage because you're getting to spot your misses. This is all a time-based sport. And so the faster you can see the miss and you can correct for it, the quicker you can get back on target and send another one if you need to. And so this is really just a overview of my rifle, how I have it dialed in. If you're curious of the actual tuning or anything like that, we can get into that in a later video, but hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.